Welcome, everyone, to Thor's Hammer, brought to you by VikeFans.com, the show that we sit around, get hammered, and have fun talking about the Vikings, our team. I am Viking Bob. I'm sitting up here in Boston, and tonight I am indulging on Jack Daniels and ginger ale. I'm having a blast, and I'm going to reach across the table and slap in OBM. OBM, how you doing tonight, brother?
How's it going on, my man? How's it going on? Just enjoying a little Jack and Coke here tonight, fellas.
Alrighty. What about you, GV? We'll dial into Atlanta for you. What's up with you?
I'm sitting there drinking Miller Lite because I guess I can get some hoodies or something like that if I keep drinking this stuff. It's it was delicious before, but I guess this is like my I don't know my Miller Lite WIC voucher or something like that. So I'm drinking the Miller Lite from here on out.
I heard that. I'm a double XL, man. If you give me one, appreciate that.
I'll try to hook you up here, but my closet's quite full of hoodies already, and I don't know. The wife, she's got friends. I got friends. Bob, we'll try to fit you in here somewhere.
You're the man. I'll even chip in for like half a case of empties.
You're the best, man. You're the best.
Right. And last but not least, the fourth member of this brew crew, the man who ties it all in together, Mr. Mike Olson.
Thanks for having me on again. I'm on about 2 fingers into 4 fingers of Woodford Reserve's bourbon, and I got a New Belgium slow ride kicker to wash it back too.
Nice.
This whole fingers thing, you might want to. This is a family show, Mike.
I know you're getting excited over there, GB. I know you're getting excited.
I'm sweating over here. Okay, just stop.
Shit, OBM isn't even commenting. He's off in the dark room back there taking care of business.
Hey, someone's got to set the pace here. It might as well be me. So I'm just setting the pace.
I'm so glad that shot call is working on him this week.
Hey, you're a trendsetter over there, OBM.
Yes, indeed.
All right, everyone at home, we're going to roll into our first segment, which we entitled Odin's Eye. This is where we look into the future and see the past. Unfortunately for us, the past was the last game against the 49ers on Monday night, which is a complete debacle. But before we get into it, I would like to introduce you to one of our very special guests this evening. You know him as Pops on the board. Pops, how you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing good. How about everybody else?
We're doing well. Thank you for joining us. This is going to be a different interview than you've ever had in your life. These questions are going to be extremely hard as we're putting it to you. So I hope you're sitting down and you're ready.
Man, I'm ready. I just, the difference in the accent,
What accent?
I got to speak Southern accent,
I don't notice either one of your guys' accents, so keep going.
Okay, Pops. Here you go. This is probably the hardest question you'll ever be asked in an interview. I almost guarantee you've never been asked this before and will probably never be asked it again. What are you drinking, sir?
What am I drinking? Well, I've had a few good shots of vodka. That was about all I could find up here. Had the wine cellar, had a few bottles of wine in it, but I'm not much of a wine guy, and actually I'm not much of a drinking guy until about 5, 6, 7, 8, well, about 9 years ago. And other than that, I've had a few of those shots of some vodka, and right now I'm partaking in a Coke Zero.
Well, you're really mixing them well tonight, huh?
Oh, yeah.
It's all good because, we're not all about drinking here. If you want to come on here with a Diet Coke, that's cool. You want to come and say I'm drinking water, it's cool. Pops, vodka. Why you start drinking that about 8 years ago?
Oh, I didn't start drinking that about 8 years ago. I started drinking it about an hour ago. Actually, I didn't drink a drop hardly between the time of I think I got my first time that I ever got drunk was probably when I was about 16 years old, and I thought, well, let's see what it's all about, and that was enough to cure me for a couple of years because it was tequila, and it was about I don't know after I think then after about 6 shots of tequila. And everybody laughed. I don't remember how many shots I had after that. All I know is the night was not a good one. and the next day was even worse. So I didn't hardly drink a drop until about maybe 2000. I was well into. uh, Brian was in college, and he said, "Hey, I'll make you a drink," and I had one, and didn't drink too much before then, and actually probably none at all. Went probably 25, 30 years without even a touch of anything, and then
Wow.
just never really got into it, and then a few years ago,
Became a
couple of
Vikings
years
fan.
ago.
Had no choice.
Yeah, some things drive you to drink it.
I'm saying usually most people drink while their kids are living at home and stop after they move out. What happened? This is a complete opposite situation. I'm kind of confused on this, Pops.
Well, I never really got into the drinking scene. Never, didn't like the taste of alcohol. In actuality, and the truth is, Brian made me a pina colada one night when we had moved him in to another place in Austin, and when he made me that, I was like, "Hey, that's pretty good." It relaxed me, and I 10 minutes later, I fell asleep. And I said, "Well, hey, that's pretty good." So,
Hey, Pops.
Yeah.
When you were in Austin, did you guys go to Twin Peaks while you were there making these drinks?
No, I didn't. I don't think Twin Peaks was even there.
Not saying I've been there twice, or 4 times, but yeah, I've heard about that place out there.
Hey, we got Twin Peaks.
We
got Twin Peaks out here in Arizona.
Is it anything like the Yellow Rose in Austin?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Pops, I want to ask you a question, and then we're going to get into the Vikings.
Okay.
All right. Have you seen on the board, we have the segment every now and then we'll put up called Proud Papa Moment? Well, I have one of those. I have a 12-year-old son that is an absolute phenom as a 12-year-old baseball player. He's a catcher. He hits 650 every season. He blocks everything. He throws everybody out. He's my pride and joy. Now, as a father of a player that went to play a sport professionally, can you fill us in on A, what that's like, and B, what it was like when Brian was 8, 10, 12, 14, all the way through high school, and what that was like for you? Did you coach him, push him, or just be there for him?
Well, look, it was a little bit of everything there. He made up his mind. He started playing football at I think 4 or 5 years old. And down in Texas, we started off with no flag football. It's all in uniform and it's all tackle. And so he at 4 or 5 years old, he kind of made up his mind. That's what he wanted to do for a living. That he loved that game, but he was one of those that we kept him busy in everything. We kept him in every sport possible. He also believed he was going to be a professional baseball player, and then later on came track and basketball. He loved to play basketball. He had fun playing basketball, and that was one of those sports where we said, "All right, go out and play basketball, have fun." It was football, baseball that was for a long time was well within his grasp as far as him working his tail off at a very young age.
What was like? I'm asking you, what was it like for you?
For me,
I push him. And, what did you do to help him along?
Well, I created a workout for him at a very young age. Went to the doctor and asked him, "Hey, he wants to do this. Is this all right at his age?" And I think he was 9 years old. And of course, our doctor said, if he's good with it, that's fine. Whatever he can do, he can do it. And so for about a year between the ages of 9 and 10 years old, I told him I made a pact with Brian. I said, I will do everything within my power to help you and and push you and get you where you want to go as far as the level, as long as you promise me that you'll never quit on me, and that everything I tell you to do, you will do. And that's about where it started. And it, to this day, it at times, it's, of course, he's been playing in the league for 9 years. What the hell do I know that he doesn't know and or anything like that?
Oh.
He passed me up a long time ago, but I still try to be both dad and a coach.
Pops, this is Mike. I think one of the most interesting things that you let on there was that you checked in with your doctor to find out what a boy at his age should be getting into, what makes sense for him to getting into. I can tell you from personal experience being at the gym and seeing some fathers pushing their sons on free weights that they have absolutely no idea what they're doing, and they're actually doing more harm to their body than good. And I think that's a key point, to talk with your doctor and find out what their bodies are capable of and where they should be headed. So I appreciate you sharing that little piece with us.
Oh,
Thanks,
sure, no problem. I mean, it was, in that aspect, I spent a lot of time with Brian. With at the time when he was working out, even when he was in high school, I would get home from work, and sometimes anywhere from 3 to 5 hours a day during the summer times, he was up at the school, and we always told him, hey, as long as you are pushing yourself and doing the work and getting better, I will be the one that works extra jobs or works this or that to provide you with everything that I can possibly provide you with all the training, and send you to football camps, baseball camps, whatever you want. And as long as you're going up there and you're working 2 or 3, 4, 5 hours a day in the weight room, running, everything else, I don't have a problem with it. And then even during the summer, even during school year, he played his freshman and sophomore years in high school. He was involved in 5 sports. Some of them overlapped. Some of them, I can remember at one time where I had about all I could stand, and I said his sophomore year, he went and threw at a track meet. We came home, got in bed, got up at 5 o'clock the next morning, drove 100 miles to for him to compete in a regional powerlifting meet. And of course, he was the next qualifier for the regionals, and we had driven there to see if anybody had bowed out, and then he would get in. So everybody showed up. So we turned around, come back home, and he was the starting pitcher on the baseball team, and they had a doubleheader that day. So we went from 3 sports in 2 days, in less 2 days. And I said, enough's enough. Something got to give. So he kind of let the powerlifting go, and then after his sophomore year, he let the baseball go. Which, hey, I know a lot of parents think, that hey, he could have done something. I truly believe that he probably, if he really had wanted to. And the problem was at high school, he had a problem with the high school coach, but he was doing baseball and track predominantly at the same time. And there was times where he would go over throwing a track meet that we'd have at the stadium there at home, and then walk in, change into his baseball uniform, and go over and start on the mound as the pitcher on the baseball team.
I mean, I'm in the same boat. My kid plays lacrosse. He plays football. He got into golf this year, and he plays baseball all the time. He's on 2 baseball teams at a time and 2 lacrosse teams at a time. So I feel your pain.
Yeah,
drive here, drive there.
I mean, that's basically the best you can do is support him, and like even his workouts. When he was still, when he was playing baseball, football, basketball, track, powerlifting, I usually got off from work around 2 o'clock. I would leave from work and go up there. Sometimes I would watch football practice, but during all those, after football practice, after basketball practice, after track practice, he still would go in throughout the whole year and do a 2 hour workout in the weight room, and I was there with him every minute. And so, if as far as anything like that goes, to support him, let him know you're there, let him know that you care about him, push him. Yeah, I mean, I pushed Brian. Some people said maybe it was too much, and my thoughts on that was always this: is if he loves what he's doing and he shows the improvement what hard work can get him, then if he wants to quit, that's his prerogative. That's exactly what he wants. And for me, I have no problem with it. But we always had one rule around my house, and my daughter had to go through it too. Is if you start something, you finish it.
Nice.
There was no quitting.
There you
Period. Because there's no quitting in life for all of us.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
This is GB. I'm wondering, as this whole process is going on and Brian's getting better, going through the ranks. Was it like Friday Night Lights at your house? Was there constant people calling? Was the phone ringing off the hook? What was it like in your house as he knew that he was hitting stardom? He knew that he was going to go somewhere.
Well, I'll tell you, the first, you go through all the NCAA rules and stuff like that. And when he went into high school as a freshman, before the season started, they brought him up to varsity, which you have to understand, at our little school, the Brian's head coach in varsity had been there for, he'd been there for 15, 16, 17 years, something like that. And one of his rules was no freshmen play on the varsity. I mean, that was the bottom line. But his freshman year, they called him in and said, "Hey," and we were 350 miles away. We was out at our deer lease, and he said, my wife. We called my wife, and my wife said, "Hey, coach called, and he wanted to take Brian up and let him practice with the varsity for a few days and see about moving him up to varsity." So we came home, and eventually what happened, they put him on JV as a freshman, and then halfway through the season, once we started district, I say halfway, it was 3 or 4 games into it. When we started district, he brought him up, and the first game he started at nose guard on the varsity, and it just so happened that the guy he went against was an all-state center. And from that point on, he stayed on varsity. He was the first freshman on varsity in like 16, 17 years.
That's awesome.
And so from that point on, when we started learning the NCAA stuff in it, and his coach loved him, loved the fact that he was who he was, how he was, and of course he loved his size. Brian had a growth spurt between the first of his 8th grade year. He weighed like 150 pounds and was about 5'7". When he went to high school the next year, when he started high school as a freshman, he was 6'1", 205 pounds.
Goodness.
And so he was bigger than most of the guys they had on varsity, stronger than every one of them, but maybe 2 or 3 on varsity. And so when he moved him up and he played him that year, he told me after that year, he said, "Get ready, we're moving him to linebacker." And he said, "I think he's got a bright future." Well, whenever he did get a lot of attention, he had a good season, really good season his sophomore year. And then we started getting acclimated to the NCAA rules, regulations, and so on and so forth. And the very first day that they were allowed to call and talk, I think it was in their junior year, something like that. They're not allowed to get any letters until the end of their sophomore year, and they're not allowed to talk to anybody until the end of their junior year. Well, the day that day come around, I was at work. My wife called me about 9 o'clock in the morning, and she said, "I'm leaving the house." I said, "What's wrong?" She said, "At 7:30, the phone started ringing, and it ain't stopped. And it's constantly colleges calling. And I said, "Well, leave then." I said, "If they want to talk, they'll talk." So that's the way that went. And when he started, he knew he had that attention. But Brian's one of those that, and y'all have seen him talk to the public. Y'all seen how his personality is. He's just a small town country boy that has done good and really truly believes that he is lucky to be where he's at, and he is blessed. And the fact that he knows that the hard work, everything else paid off, but he still is approachable. As he says it, and I'm sure y'all have heard it many times, because I know he's said it many times. I've seen some of his interviews, and he says, "You know, I'm just lucky enough to be. I'm not a celebrity. I'm just a guy who has a celebrity type job."
Hey, I can tell
he
you
said,
from being down there at training camp that you raised one heck of a son who is courteous, kind, and willing to share his time.
I thank you. I thank you very much. And that's one of the things that I always say. I'm very proud of all his accomplishments, but the one thing that I'm most proud of is how he's learned to be where he's at, and still have the decency to say, "I'm just a guy. I'm just a normal guy from a small town, and as he says it, I got a glorified job."
As a fan, I love that. Seriously, as a fan, there's so many arrogant a-holes out there, and to see Brian, the way he even does interviews, when he interviews his teammates, it's a breath of fresh air to see him do that, and I'm proud to have him on the Vikings.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, Pops, we're going to have
Yeah.
OBM ask you a question, and then we're going to move on to last week's game, if you'd like to stick around with us. It's up to you.
Oh, yeah, that sounds fine. But first, OBM, he looked in that mirror after that game, brother.
Hey, Pops, thanks for coming on the show. Just a quick question for you, because, my son is 4 years old, and what advice would you have out there? I mean, he's real young yet, but he's playing hockey right now, but he's already asked me, hey, when can I play football, Pops? He wants to get out there. So my question is, when Brian was real young, and you start realizing, hey, he's got an interest in this, did you just let him have fun with it and just take it real slow? And then, how do you handle that at a young age? I'm curious.
Well, I'll be truthful. OBM, I don't know if I handled it right. I mean, evidently it turned out right. I'm not saying that I did it right. There was a lot of people at even a young age that thought I was too hard on Brian, that I pushed him too hard. But there's a little story I tell people. It's kind of funny. The very first football game that he ever had, it was where it's tackle football. They're in pads, they're in all that, but we have the coaches on the field. And during Little League football, which went 8 years, I was always one of the coaches. We were out there. His very first play, we went down and played a little smaller town, a few miles from us, and he gets down as a defensive tackle, and he lines up against, at that point, pretty good guy, about pretty good sized kid that was quite a bit bigger than Brian. And the team that we had at that point had 7 out of the 11 kids that had never, or no, it was 9 out of the 11 kids that had never played football before. And this other team had a bunch of big kids that were in their second and third year of playing football. And Brian lined up across from him. The very first play, the kid fires out and just runs over Brian like he's nothing. And of course, that age, he's crying, he's whining, and he's crying, and everything else. And I walk up to him and I said, "Son, you ready to go home?" And Brian looked at me, still tears in his eyes and still crying. He looked at me and says, "No, I'm fixing to line up and whoop his butt."
Awesome.
And from that point forward, it was okay. You do love this, and that was the true thing with him, is he truly loved the sport. And of course, then it grew into other sports, and he loved every sport that he did. But his true love, and his one and only important was always football.
Well, as a Vikings fan, I thank you. I thank him as well.
And you're all very welcome.
Pops, it was a pleasure getting to know you in this. But we're going to move on to last week's game before we pull into next week's game. So we're going to move on to the next segment, which we have titled Odin's Eye. This is where we look into the future, but we also get to see the past. In this segment, we're bringing up the debacle in San Fran on Monday, unless you live here on the East Coast, and it was actually Tuesday as well, which was not fun. Right, GV?
It sucked. It sucked really bad.
But let's try to break down this game on Monday. What I saw in the preseason, it was a team that was built in pretty much every asset of the game. They had great defense, great offense. Special teams was iffy, but the defensive line, linebackers, defensive backs, O-line played okay. Running backs played okay, and Peterson didn't play it down. Receivers looked good. So the question is, what happened on Monday? Do you want to break it down by position, or do you guys just want to talk overall? Because for me, I want to talk about Teddy Bridgewater first. That guy looked like he was auditioning for Happy Feet 2. What happened to him? Let's go to OB first.
You know what, guys? Obviously, I lost $100 here. Let's talk about that. I lost $100 on this damn game. So
Sucker.
A couple of bottles of Jack, maybe some MGD, a little Miller Highlight for GV. So this was a rough game. We look at Teddy Bridgewater in this game, and the next day he came out, and I think he made some comment along the lines of being too hyped up, and Zimmer commented on that, and I think what happened was we watched the preseason, we everybody thought this was going to be our coming out party, and I think we had some guys struggle. The big lights, I don't think there's any doubt about it. I mean, we struggled a little bit on all aspects of the game. When we're sitting here talking about this game now, and we're talking about Matt Khalil and Mike Harris being like two of the bright spots in the game, we know we got some issues, right? So Adrian Peterson didn't show up. The offensive line, for the most part, didn't show up. Teddy didn't show up. Mike Wallace, he showed up, so, it's just one of those games where it just seemed like nothing clicked. We had a couple of breaks early on. We couldn't capitalize. The block punt, maybe if we get 3 points there, the non-call pass interference on Mike Wallace, there were plays in this game that had they gone the other way, the Vikings probably win this game. So an all-around disappointing performance, but I'm expecting them to step back up this week. Zimmer's going to put them through a good week of practice, I think, and I think we're going to rebound.
I could reiterate on that. Some of the calls, I look at it this way. Yeah, I thought they had their butts handed to them. And, I'm pretty much thinking that for the most part, they believe they did too. And, yeah, they laid an egg on national TV. But as strong as San Francisco looked against us, and as much as we screwed up, OBM brought up a good point. You can basically look at 13 to 20 points that may have been ours. There was the pass interference on Wallace, But what about the face guarding pass interference that was not called? Nobody even talked about. In fact, the announcer said he covered that just perfect. But there's no face guarding in the NFL. That was at about the 10-yard line. That could have added another 3 points. Who knows? Maybe another 6 points. But even at that, I'm going to say this, and I know I'm going to be told, no, you're wrong. I don't think, by listening to some of what I've heard, that you have anything to worry about. I think this team is going to be as strong as what we thought in the first place. We'll find out come Sunday. I mean, we'll know that. But I do think that, as you pointed out, they look nothing like what we saw in preseason.
We have another guest that would like to join us. You guys have an objection to bring him in?
I have no objection.
Guys, I would like to introduce everyone on the board. You know him as Wetlander. Wetlander, welcome to the board.
What's up, guys?
That's another one who knows about that feeling of hunting.
Oh yeah.
And when the season comes in,
I just put up a stand this afternoon.
I was thinking to say, I'll bet your neck is swelling now.
Yeah, I'm getting ready for rut season here.
The wife or the deer?
Both.
Hey, Wetlander, we're going to get to know you in the next segment, but for now, you want to chime in on Monday night's game?
It was ugly.
All right.
That's all I'm going to say.
Thanks. Open the TV. That was good. Great input there, guys.
To be completely honest, I was watching the game. I was up in New Jersey this week, at Philly area, and I started watching the game Monday night. And I had my sons texting me from Washington and Japan, and watching this thing. And what we were talking about last week, I said if the Vikings lay an egg here, we're going to be 6-10, and people are chastising me. I love the Vikings. I'm so terrified of our offensive line, and it exposed itself last week. Our defense, things were happening. I believe the defense is still very good. Our offensive line is terrible right now, and I'm still saying 6-10.
Wrong.
I have to add one thing, that even though you're right, the offensive line didn't pick up blitzes is what killed them, but there was many times where, as far as the pass protection, how long did Teddy have to sit back there and go through the first, second, third read? That tells me that those guys were covered, or there wasn't anybody open. But yet they couldn't handle. They handled the basic stuff fine on the pass. Didn't look so hot on the run, and that's one of the reasons why I don't think AD got on track, and that hurt everything right there.
You know, I watched the game, and it was, honest to goodness, like watching a high school football game in a way. It was like watching the champions play a team that barely made the playoffs. They just got their ass kicked on all facets on the offense. They couldn't do anything.
Well, you got to kind of look at it too. What have we got? We've got a Pro Bowl center out. We've got a right tackle out. I mean, when you go to doing that level of those guys right there, and you bring in T.J. Clemens for Lone Hope. Nothing against T.J. at all, because I'm sure he will learn, but he's still a rookie. I mean, it's going to give him an opportunity to get good quick. He's going to have to, and I think part of doing that is actually going up against our D line at practices. Now, the season's getting started, so they're not going into a lot of the stuff. But during training camp, he got a little bit of coaching. I'm sure he's going to get a little bit more. But I think just the first time for those guys to play together, and you've got two guys on that offensive line that doesn't, especially like Berger. Okay, with Sullivan, you had an experienced play caller, or the offensive line's quarterback right there. That may have been some of the problem with picking up the blitzes. And who knows? I'm not making excuses, but I'm saying, yeah, we look terrible. But to me, there was a reason. There's reasons for it, and hopefully, we don't do the same thing this coming week.
So let's look at this coming game against the Detroit Lions on Sunday. Pops, you get the floor. Keep rolling, big guy. What do you think is going to happen on Sunday? And then from there, you go to GV.
Well, first thing we're going to have to do is cover Johnson. You cover Johnson. You stop the run so you can pass rush, because I don't believe that Detroit's offensive line can stop our defensive line when they want to pass rush. But our defensive line, first of all, has got to stop the run to get them to pass. There was in the game the other night, it may have looked like it, but there was 16 passes was all Kaepernick threw, and you can't get a pass rush doing it. And for the most part, most of those, I can't think of any where he did a 7-step drop and looked at 1, 2, 3 successions of his receivers and took more than 2.5 seconds to get the ball off. And if he was moving in the first place. And as athletic as he is, that's pretty tough to do too, is corral somebody like that. But and a lot of people, they think the pass rush isn't there. The pass rush is there a lot of times. We see it every time we play Green Bay, every time we play Chicago. Those guys are told, get rid of the ball within 2.5 seconds. Now, somebody's sitting in front of you, and that quarterback's going to get rid of the ball in 2.5 seconds or less. It's going to be tough to get to them. But we'll see how that goes. But if we can stop the run and get a chance to get back there and get the pass, I think Stafford may be in trouble, because our D-line has done fairly good against Stafford when we've done that, when he's had to pass, because he is basically a pocket passing quarterback that he can move, but he's not a mobile quarterback.
So you think we're going to put Xavier Rhodes on Calvin Johnson?
Man, if it was me, I would put everybody on Calvin Johnson. But I have a feeling it probably will be. But and then, you know, when you come in with nickel and dime packages and stuff like that, who knows? It may be I'm sure he's going to get doubled in some way, even though it may not look like it. He will get doubled in some way, and you've got to with a receiver like that. He's just a phenomenal athlete. And you better do that, because of his size, speed, and athleticism.
You're making Mike Olson very happy because he's playing me this week in fantasy football, and he has Calvin Johnson.
But you got to remember, Mike. Understand this: there's been a lot of times where we have shut down Calvin Johnson.
Hey, nothing would make me more happy than I see Calvin Johnson sitting on the sideline, 0 catches for 0 yards. I'd be just fine with that, and I'd still whoop Bob's ass in fantasy football. So don't worry about that.
Alrighty. I'll give my score. I'm going to say 23-17 Vikings.
I'll give my prediction here. I say 24-23 Vikings.
Who else? Wetland, are you still here? You passed out?
I'm still here.
All right.
I'm trying to think what I had in the prediction thread. I think it was 23-17.
That's what I had. Look at that. Honestly? Okay.
Honestly, it's going to be 23-17.
Mike Olson.
You know, I think it's going to be a tighter one. I think it's going to be something closer to 27-21. And I think we're going to have to win it in the last few minutes of the game, too.
I'm good with that. Makes the game exciting. So we're all in agreement that we're going to win, I believe. OBM, did you give your numbers? 24-10, right? Never mind.
You know what? I'm gonna buck the trend right here, fellas. You guys are all gonna hate me right now, but you know, maybe it's the Jack and Coke. I don't know. I think it's gonna be a tough game. I think Ziggy Ansah, Ezekiel. It's going to be a tough game. I don't know. I'm going to say 27-24 Detroit. I think it's going to be tough. I just got a bad feeling that Detroit they've got just enough of a pass rush yet to give Teddy some problems. They got Nagata, they got Ezekiel Ansah, Ziggy Ansah, whatever. But I think it's going to be 27-24 Detroit.
Ooh, Detroit.
What? A different 24-10? What? What'd you say?
No. 27-24. Calm down. 27-24.
I only have one question for you, OBM. How do you spell?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
How do you spell the word?
I think it's UHUHAIUHUHAIUH.
Just as long as it's spelled VSETORY, I could not give a shit either way.
And it might be spelled that way too.
All right, Pop. I want to let you know it was a pleasure, absolute pleasure having you join us this evening. I hope you had fun with us and be willing to do it again.
I'm sure I probably will. I've had a great time, guys. It's good getting to know some of you guys and having a little time on the phone with you. And I appreciate you having me on.
And thanks, Pops. Appreciate it. Seriously, we really do appreciate it. You've been great.
Please go on. Please go on and listen to the podcast, and hopefully you loved being on the show with us.
All righty. Well, I appreciate it, guys, and we'll talk to y'all later.
Thank you very much.
Take care, Pop. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, so let's move on from that segment. We're going to move into something we called, in tribute to Arnold Schwarzenegger, What Does Your Name and What Does Your Daddy Do? And tonight we have Wetlander. So, Wetlander, fill us in on what the hell Wetlander means and how did you get that name?
Well, I'll give you a clean version.
Did you just say UGHITHI? Never mind.
Yeah, something like that. No, I don't know. I was trying to think of like a cool screen name, and I was having some trouble, and I wanted it to be unique. So I don't know. I just watched the movie Highlander for the first time, and like, granted, this is probably like 25 years after it was made. And I do a lot of work with wetlands and aquatic resources and stuff. So
I do too in my bedroom.
Yeah, Highlander, Wetlander, it works. So that's the story. It's not very good, but whatever.
From now on, I will call you Wetlander. So, Wetlander, how long have you been a Vikings fan, and why? I noticed you not a Minnesota native, or were you?
I was. Yeah, I actually grew up in Stillwater, and then I moved down to the southeast part of the state when I was like 6. So I'm a Minnesota native. My earliest Viking memory was when Favre's first start, when he came in for the Magic Man.
For Mikowski.
Yeah, I don't know. So whatever that was, like 92 or whatever. And I mean, I got a few memories from before that, but you know, I was young. I was like 6, watching football with my dad. So yeah, and then I've been hooked ever since.
So you're just as dumb as the rest of us, huh?
That's right. Born into it. Now I'm trying to get my sons into it.
Misery loves company, man. Misery loves
company. I got a question for you, brother. Man. You've been around a long time, and I've always respected what you've had to say for the most part now. But where are you from? I don't even know where you live, man. Where are you from? Where do you live now? I know you lived in Minnesota, southeastern Minnesota. Where are you at now? What are you doing? And we know you can drink, but you're probably not up there with me and GV and Bob and Pops. But it's cool. You're trying to hang. I respect that, brother. Where are you at now? What are you drinking, and what's going on, my man?
Well, I got little kids, so I got an excuse. I can't drink like you guys do anymore.
Liar.
When they get up, Daddy's got to get up. So
come on, man. I got a 4-year-old. I know where you're coming from, man.
Right. Well, yeah, I'm living in central Wisconsin. Kind of live right by a lake. It's pretty nice.
Sorry to hear that, man. Sorry to hear that.
You're not making love to your sister, are you?
No, I don't succumb to any of these Wisconsin traditions here.
Here we go.
Do we need to do a wellness check on any farm animals in the area, Wes?
No, I think the cows and steers down the road are pretty safe.
The baby sheep is missing his father right now.
Matt.
Oh,
that's my dad.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Hey, I'm just living here because that's where my job's at, and my wife's family lives here. So once we had kids, we moved closer to one of our families.
Do we have a bullwhip sound put in here? We talk about because your wife lives up there and all that. I just want the.
Yeah, she's out of town, so I'm free right now.
Yeah, she's out of town. I got my fingers in the air with the quotes. Yeah, she's out of town.
Well, she took our kids, so hopefully it's nothing too weird.
Well, they come home and start calling you by your first name. That's when I start questioning it.
Went to visit Uncle Rico.
Hey, Wet, how you doing? My dad over here was talking about you this weekend.
I think you'll see Uncle Daddy. Hey, Wet, tell us your favorite Viking moment, history, whatever, memory.
It's got to be Favre. Come on, Wet, you're about my age, Favre.
Yeah, Favre. That year with Favre was kind of bittersweet. I mean, I had no expectations for him going into that year. And I don't know, after that San Francisco pass to Greg Lewis in the back of the end zone, I was a believer.
That was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the most recent memorable memory.
So, Wetlander, anything else you want to tell us about yourself before we move on to the next segment?
I'm pretty loaded right now.
Wetlander, what's your favorite color? Do you like the Vikings? Is your mom as hot as everybody says she is?
She's pretty hot.
Can you pick
oh man!
Can you pick a color between 1 and 10?
Pick a color. Purple.
Yeah. Pick a color between 1 and 10.
4.
Wrong.
Wow! You picked green and gold.
How tall?
It was the purple 4.
How tall do you weigh?
How tall do I weigh? 32.
I can't see you when you're talking. What?
Oh, yeah, you got hammered.
How about drinking a divine cognac or drinking a divine wine? I like to drink. When I drink a lot. I like to drink a lot.
All right, so Bob, we gonna do a shot or what?
We gotta go.
We all need to do a shot. Come on, let's go. Let's go.
All right.
Stop.
We'll go into the drinking segment.
All right, everybody's got to line up. We got tequila and Kahlua. You need those two.
Holy balls.
Be ready.
I got tequila. What'd you say? Tequila and what?
Kahlua.
There has to be more to this recipe. Tequila,
No.
Kahlua.
Just those two. We thought this up. Me and a couple buddies were trying to think up a new shot that we'd like to try every week, and this one we're calling a Tijuana Bullwhip.
Holy balls. Okay.
I like it. All right, hold on. I'm getting my Patron here.
I'm mixing a Coke Zero with a glass right now.
Come on, GV.
I don't do that stuff.
It's yellow and dark.
Yeah, that's right. Just like the pee I'm fucking throwing out here. Hey, as you guys are taking your shots over there, last week you guys were talking about try something new every week. And I actually did try a new beer this week just for you guys.
What'd you try?
As Founders Brewing Company, is a thing called Nitro Pale Ale.
Wonderful.
Nice.
Wonderful.
Nice.
Beer.
And I tried this beer at a local bar where I was staying at. And they had it. It's a national company, but they had this beer tap. I said, all right, just for the segment alone, I got to try this beer. And I tried it. it was delicious. You know, they gave me these little shot glasses. The other ones they had, the dark beers, I hated, but this one, the Nitro Pale Ale, was kick ass. I got to admit, it was good. It's not Miller Lite, and I was happy. If I drank this on a regular basis, I'd probably bankrupt my entire family. But it's very good beer. It's almost, it's not like a shandy or anything like that, but it's kind of like a Honey Weiss. You know, like Leinenkugels Honey Weiss. It kind of tasted like that in a way, but it was better than that even. It was a very good beer.
Yeah, Founders is a fantastic brewing company. I got to tell you, their breakfast stout is just phenomenal. And if you're drinking beer at breakfast time,
You're a
you're
man.
doing something right.
I like drank what in the morning?
If I drink a breakfast, I haven't gone to bed yet.
Is that like there's a breakfast beer?
Yeah, it's a breakfast stout. It's you know, you got your
Oh,
Wheaties, you got your breakfast stout, you start your day.
Hey, keep this recorded because I'm going to show this to my wife and say, hey, there is a breakfast beer. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Founders Brewing Company breakfast stout.
Yes, babe. No, this is okay. This is a breakfast beer. I can
That's
drink
right.
this.
That's right. It's part of your balanced daily nutrition there.
Yeah.
It's a goat meal.
Yeah.
It does have oatmeal.
Kicks are for kids.
Does everybody know what a Tijuana Bullwhip is?
Yes.
Is it G-rated?
Well, just because I told
No.
I talked it yesterday. Go on Urban Dictionary. There's a lot of, it's like a rabbit hole. You can just click on stuff and keep going down and learn all kinds of cool stuff. So we're going to try this. It's probably going to taste like poo, but everybody ready?
Dirty Sanchez.
Here we go.
All right.
3, 2.
Oh, I already drank mine.
Ugh. Oh,
Okay.
Oh,
no.
that was harsh.
I hate you, Wet.
Yeah, I got this caffeine coming up from my Coke Zero. Oh my god.
By the way, the for a Tijuana bullwhip is a sock filled with feces used to strike someone across the face.
Yeah. I like when they put in a sentence. I bet
This
this
is
guy-
what I thought was a hot Carl, to be honest with you. I always knew that to be a hot Carl instead of a Tijuana bullwhip, but
Was it magically delicious?
No.
No.
It was good. It was good. It was good. I'm feeling it. It's good. GD, why don't you get your wife on the phone? I'm kind of missing her.
Get a sock.
I'll get her back on over here, but trust me, you know, there ain't gonna be no fun and no games. You get the wife back on the phone here. It's like, listen here, asshole. That's how it's gonna start.
so in addition to this, what is it? Tijuana bullwhip? What else are we drinking so we can wash this shit out of our mouth?
Oh.
Wash the shit out of her.
I'd have rather been slapped across the face with a sock, to be honest with you. I gotta tell you.
All right, guys, this will be our closing segment for this evening. Let's get on the NFC North and the NFL discussion. This is where we predict the scores of big games and, most importantly, the NFL North. GV, go at it.
Well, I know we're playing Detroit this week. That's basically all I know. Who's Green Bay playing this week? I think they're playing Seattle and Detroit and Chicago. I don't know who they're playing. I haven't looked at the schedule yet.
Well, I know Detroit's playing the Vikings.
What? Excuse me? Oh yeah, thank you. You see, we're quite a bit into this drinking thread / podcast. You know, I think Detroit beats us. I talked 6-10 last week, and everyone thought, you know, oh yeah, GB's an idiot. I hate him. He sucks. Being 0-2 in a division is going to suck, but I really think that we're going to lose this week, 24-10.
Honestly?
Yeah, honestly.
Honestly, did you say that an hour ago?
Honestly, we're gonna lose 24-10 this week. And honestly, and people will call for Teddy Bridgewater's head and all that, but we're honestly gonna lose 24-10. Honestly.
Ofo, over to you. What's your thoughts?
Like I said, I think Detroit wins this game. I don't know if we can stop the hands. I think that's going to be ugly, and I'm worried about our offensive line. I'm going to say Detroit's going to win this game. The Packers play Seattle?
No. Yeah, they play Seattle. It's good. Yeah,
in Seattle or in Green Bay?
Does it matter?
Anyone know? Yeah, it does, actually.
You know what? I'm actually looking for it on the
calendar. Okay, I'm not going to make it up. We're too lazy. We're too drunk. It's all good. If that game's in Green Bay, I'm going to go with Green Bay. If that game's in Seattle, I'm going with Seattle. By 3. Either way. So, yeah. I don't know. Chicago, Arizona, that is in Chicago, right?
Chicago's home against Arizona.
Against Arizona?
Yeah. Chicago is home against Arizona.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go with Arizona. They're gonna pull the upset there. Yeah, well coached team. I like Arians. Their only weakness, honestly, is running back. Living down here, running back's their only weakness. If they had a decent running back, I think Arizona would be tough. So I'm gonna go Arizona over Chicago in Chicago. Jay Cutler. Look out, it's going to get ugly after this week, brother.
Do you think that's really an upset for Arizona to beat Chicago?
No.
I don't know how big of an upset it is, but let's just be honest. What's the Vikings record over the last 3 years on the road? What is it? What is it, TV?
Let's not be honest. How about we just say, is Chicago really as good as you think they are? Because they wouldn't be upset for Arizona to beat them.
Well, I think it's an upset anytime you beat someone on the road. So, I don't know what the line is. I'm just saying I would think Chicago would be favored by like 2 or 3 points. I don't know what the line was, but bottom line is you got a guy you're paying what, $20-25 million this year, and you're going to lose to Carson Palmer and Andre Ellington. Yeah, that's ugly. That's ugly.
I'll take Arizona by 4. And Seattle, Green Bay. That's a tough one. That's a field goal game. I'm going to go with Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle's not going to start out 1-2. I think Seattle's going to win that game.
Green Bay wins that game. Green Bay wins the game by at least 7.
Yeah, wait a minute now. You're saying if Seattle's 0-2?
Yeah, yep.
You are saying Seattle is 0-2. If that happens, I'll tell you right now, Seattle will be calling Cam Chancellor's agent and saying, "What do we got to do?" Because, I think Seattle wins that game. I really do.
Green Bay by at least 7.
Wow, this is impressive.
I hope I'm wrong, but Green Bay by 7. I think Detroit, they're gonna lose to the Vikings. I got my fingers crossed over here, kind of like wishing in one hand, crapping in the other. But yeah, I think Minnesota wins by within 1 to 3 points in that game. Chicago against Arizona wins that game as well. Arizona wins by at least 14.
Wow. Okay. We'll see.
Wetlander and Olsen, you guys want to give your opinions?
Go ahead, Mike.
I think I got to agree with GV. I think Green Bay is going to take this game. I understand OBM's point that Seattle going 0-2, but I think Green Bay has a lot of momentum going into this next game, and I think Aaron Rodgers is just going to deliver a victory for them. Chicago, that team is a disaster. But, against Arizona, it's just not going to happen. So that would be my prediction. I'd say Green Bay by field goal. I mean, it's going to be close. Seattle's defense is still pretty tough, but you got, honestly, and grudgingly.
Honestly?
Honestly.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Let's be honest.
Wow.
Honestly, and grudgingly, arguably the best quarterback in the league going up against a stout defense, but I think he's going to deliver, and I think they're going. I think they're going to win it by a field goal. I honestly do, and Chicago's just going to get trounced. That's just how it's going to work out.
Yes, I think the same.
Hey, what
All right.
to you?
I'm going to disagree with you guys. I think Green Bay is going to lose.
We don't care what you think, Wentlander.
I live here. Bulaga, he's missing the game. He's got a bum knee. And
Exactly.
I think that Seattle defense, it's still tough. I don't care if the Rams put up 34 points on them. They're going to come in there. They're not starting 0-2. They're going to win. And
there we go. That's what I'm talking about, Wet.
yeah, it's going to be flashbacks to the NFC Championship game, and that's all that's going to happen there. It's going to be Seattle by, I'm going to say 10, and it's going to look closer than it was.
How much crack have you smoked tonight?
Very little.
Probably a lot. Hey, here's my question. Is Brandon Bostic still on the Packers? Because if he is, it's 10. If he's not, it's 3. Yeah, he's not.
Who cares?
Packers by 3. Done.
Yeah, and I got to agree with Mike, though, on Chicago. Arizona's going to just come in there and just lay the smack down. It's not going to be pretty. They hung tough with the Packers, but it's a division game last week. Arizona's going to come in there. They got the better defense. They got the better quarterback. The running
better
game.
Coach.
Better coach.
Better coach. There we go.
I'm not a believer in John Fox. I mean, he's benefited from some good quarterbacks. He doesn't have it with Cutler. It's done. Right. It's going to be
Wet
ugly.
is absolutely right. Wet is absolutely right. John Fox is overrated as far as I'm concerned.
I agree.
And then Vikings-Lions. I think the Vikings, we're gonna look much better than we did.
You want to say we're gonna lose like I did?
We're not going to lose. We're not going to start 0-2. We're going to win. We're going to be motivated. I think Teddy's going to have a bounce back week. Peterson's going to get going. It's going to be a close game, but I still think we're going to win by. I think it's going to be 6 points.
Wow.
Wait a minute now. 6 points. So what you're really saying there is Blair Walsh is going to kick a field goal more than 37 yards. Is that what you're saying?
Or he's going to miss a couple extra points, but.
Yeah,
basically what he's saying is I agree with GV and I agree with Olson that this is not going to be a big victory. If we win,
no.
I trust me. The hardest game of the week for me to predict is the Vikings game.
Agreed.
You know, you look at this team. You look at Detroit. Even a home game, the Vikings looked so bad last week. Playing, and sitting there going. You know that's not the real team. You know it's not what they're really made of. But it's at least that's what I'm hoping for. That's not what they're really made of. But to see them playing against Detroit, which is a conference game, the Vikings lose this week. I told you 6-10 last week. I'm saying 5-11 if they lose this week.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That is harsh, brother. I think that is harsh. No, I got to be honest, guys. You know, honestly.
No, you don't have to be honest. You can lie.
I got to be honest. You know what? I think this is a tough matchup, and I think it's ready to come down to does our offensive line step up this week or does it not? So if our offensive line wins some battles, yes, we win this game. If it doesn't, I'll tell you what, we're going to be drinking heavily next week, brothers. Heavily.
We drink heavily.
Not that would change. We'll be drinking heavily anyway, but might be a little bit heavier.
Heavier.
If that's the word. If that's the word.
I'm going to Google that later.
Yeah, you better.
All right, people, that's our show. I hope you really enjoyed it. You come back next week and join us again for Thor's Hammer. only on bikefans.com.
Only there, baby.
Wow, you did not just call him Samurai. You call him a Samurai? Wow.
Wax on, baby, wax
What
on.
is this? Is this a bad Steven Seagal fucking movie right now? Or what's going on? Samurai Michael.
Well, I'm with you.
I love it.
The last thing is Magic Mike.
I can't wait to find out what my next one is.
We just stick with Magic Mike. I think that's the thing.
Drinking beers all night long, listening to those devil sounds. Beers and booze, so I sing. Rocky rebels come to me. We will have some fun tonight. Drinking, stewing, that's alright. Giving all the best you got. Bring another 40